G'day everybody, it's Dave from Wing Chun Mind Force. Welcome to my Friday bus talk on today, the 27th of January 2023. Continuing on with my Suzanna Ho series, I'm actually going to read an essay by Norman Ma, who was Suzanna Ho's senior student here in Australia and somebody who taught me a lot at Suzanna Ho School, HCH Wing Chun. Suzanna taught us personally, which is something that really attracted me. An actual highly advanced Wing Chun practitioner teaching you hands-on is extremely valuable. And Norman had been with her for many years, and he was a lovely man, a very smart man. He was a dentist. He used to give us really cheap dentistry, which I appreciated at that time because I was broke art student. But he was a brilliant Wing Chun practitioner, and very sadly he passed away several years ago. I can't remember the exact year, but I want to really remember Norman. So I'm going to read you this article, which I think you'll find very interesting indeed. It's called A Trained Body in Real Fighting. It's got some unique ideas. He says, the properly trained body has an uncanny ability to transfer incoming forces straight to the ground or give it back to an opponent. Having this ability will depend on many factors. Wing Chun is a systematic martial art where each of the forms depend upon the other, i.e., that is, one cannot learn the second form, Chum Kyu, without being familiar with the first form, Siu Nim Dao. The first form will prepare the body to maintain a relaxed structure through a feeling of back straight, and Tai Gong, a slight raising of the anal sphincter to link up the body as one unit. That's what I talk about. It's a feeling, it's not clenching your anus, but it's a feeling of floating, being lifted up and relaxed and connecting to the top of the head. That's really what Tai Gong is, just connecting top to bottom. And it will develop the arms to condition themselves to possess strong leverage angles, and the whole body will be full of mind force with a forward attacking attention. Okay, so that's what I've talked about, is that yi, that awareness of the whole body, being full of the mind, mapping the whole body. So as you feel the inside and the outside to your fingertips, right through your whole body, you've just got this in your mind, and it's in that rear brain, which is also the visual mind, and it's that, that feeling mind we use in balancing, as I've talked about a lot recently. So that's being full of mind force, and there's obviously higher and higher levels of that. That's what we call Nimlik, mind force. The second form, Chum Kyu, teaches one to use their mass as a source of power. Combined with the moves of the Siu Nim Dao, the second form can apply force in different directions. An opponent will find it difficult to handle these forces as their balance is affected. That's really the essence, is using the whole body and using the center in everything. Bilji is the third form. Here the moves of Bilji, with the addition of speedy rotation, will create devastating destructive forces as well as sucking in whirlpool effects forces. All these forms will prepare the body for real fighting. Now, that whirlpool effect is one of those mysterious things, but it's a mental thing. It's an idea of going in rather than out. And right through Wing Chun you'll find this Taoist riddle that we go in to go out, and the best way to go out is to go in. And what happens with time, you'll feel a sucking in. For me it was mostly a flowing in, flowing through my arms, flowing from the opponent, connecting to them and sort of sucking their mass in, but then it gets this feeling of swirling at a higher level, it becomes this three-dimensional swirling movable thing. It's a mind thing. Anyway, I've talked about that in other places. We'll continue to talk about it. Norman Ma goes on, as one of the principles of Wing Chun is not to use force against force, resisting strong muscular force with tension will affect the body. A tense body can easily be subjected to leverage attacks, and whoever is the strongest will win. However, a Wing Chun trained body will act like a drain pipe where water, incoming force, will flow through, while a blocked one will be full of water pressure, tension, which will inhibit the body from attacking someone stronger. That's what I just said. Flowing into you. Real fighting does not consist of a series of prepared techniques. No one can determine in what way someone will attack. However, a Wing Chun trained body will know how to react in a natural way. Pretty profound statement. This will depend on the training in the second form, Chum Kyu. Together with the first form structure, Chum Kyu will develop the ability to move or rotate the body by using the centre of gravity. This centre of gravity can be obtained through repetitive pivoting. Pivoting's turning, like that. And in my early training we did a lot of that, just pivoting, and I've always done lots of pivoting practice. It is a point inside the body where the whole body can be moved or rotated in a relaxed manner. So the way I was taught, we thought of a line through the body in Chum Kyu, pivoting around that, and then in Bilji went to a point in the centre. But Norman's going straight to that point, and I think that's a valid idea too. It's not super cut and dried, this thing. It's what you can achieve personally, what you can feel and hold in your mind and imagine and then make it real. So during pivoting, the point is mentally moved in a three-dimensional way, up and down, left and right, backwards and forwards, inside the body until the desired effect is found. Once this centre is found, it will be able to move the body naturally in relation to incoming force from the opponent. With the attacking mind force, the centre will be able to find the easiest way to attack. It is important for the centre to be relaxed and free to move the body. Otherwise, with tension, one will not be able to move freely. Freeing up the centre depends on how well one has trained in the first form. So there's a lot to comprehend there, but he's absolutely right. And what I love about what he says here, this is a rarely spoken thing. My friends Tony Blanco and Lindy Scott ran a seminar years ago up here, and we were talking about Bill G, but they were talking about dipping sort of your mass, not just pivoting, not just twisting, but up and down. And I immediately thought, yes, of course, that's a freeing idea, because you can get too rigid about it, that you've got to always be this sort of just the platform that never moves up and down. It's sort of to stop beginners getting up on their toes and bouncing up and down like Bruce Lee. The school I came up with in they had a lot of rules that were sort of really to stop beginners doing the wrong thing, people who'd been boxers or whatever, just to get the real Wing Chun way in. But once you're sort of set free from worrying about that too much, once you got that idea, you can experiment with things, and that feeling of going up and down. I've been told all sorts of ideas that I have mentioned in my Yi videos about sort of sinking, flowing, your body mass flowing, not just out to the opponent, but up and down, around. And Norman here is saying that the centre moves, left and right, sideways, forward and back, and up and down. So That's brilliant, you know, and it's what I talk about being like a ball or a mass floating on water. It's not just going to turn, it's going to bob in the water, isn't it? So he's saying that the Wing Chun body, the Wing Chun trained body, under control of this subconscious, subconscious, whatever you want to call it, mind, the Nim Dao mind, will find the way, the same as water finds its way around rocks or obstacles. He goes on to say, the Wing Chun body can also easily upset the balance of the opponent. If during an attack the body is tense, then body mass cannot be transferred to the attacker. The tensed arms and shoulders will create a pushing effect which is easily dealt with by a stronger person. However, a Wing Chun body will induce a rebounding effect on the attacker by use of multi-directional forces chasing the opponent. The pressure will be kept on and weaken their ability to attack back. This will depend upon the training in Chum Kyu. I had this experience once with somebody from another lineage who considered our mind force ideas a lot of baloney. And we were rolling together, and what interested me was that I wasn't at all trying to attack him, but just naturally I was moving my centre a little bit, and he kept on running from me, and I could see that he wasn't used to it. He didn't know what was going on, but I was just gently moving my centre towards him as we were rolling, and he was really finding it hard to deal with because I wasn't feeling anything particularly, but he was feeling all my mass in my arms because I was moving my centre, not pushing on him with my arms. And I realised, and I remember Sifu Jim said that to us, Sifu Jim Fung, about as soon as you upset the other person's balance, you've got them. We were taught that from the very start. Suzanna used to teach it. Most good teachers will say that, but affecting the balance, Qigong, of course, often said this, I'm told, I just know Qigong secondhand, but through my teachers. But once you upset somebody's balance, you've got them on the run. And in a real fight, that can be the difference between winning and losing, even if you just knock them down. But as soon as you take their balance, then they haven't got any strength because they're all about, gripping the ground sort of thing, being solid on the ground, whereas we're this floating mass. It's turning and bobbing and weaving like a ball. So we're pretty difficult to deal with. And he says, finishing off, preparing the body for Wing Chun takes a lot of patience. That's true. Keen dedication, never giving up, and constant guidance from a Sifu. So if I'm your Sifu out there, I'm constantly trying to guide you. That's why I keep making these videos. I don't need to make videos, I'm happy just practicing Wing Chun by myself, but I'm a teacher and a fatherly person, and I want to help you out. I'm not asking you for money. I'm doing this out of love. If you want to chuck money at me, you can. But it's important to have somebody who knows what they're talking about helping you. That's why I've set up this channel. Finding Sifus, it's a wonderful thing if you can find an actual internal Wing Chun, especially Chu Shong Tin lineage Sifu. We are out there, but if you can't find one, listen to me. Okay. Most important step is to train the Sil Nim Dao well. After familiarization with the movements, pay attention to the structure, which will free up the joints, and then use the mind to do the form. Okay, structure really means the state. I don't like the word structure. Old timers often use it, people use it, but to me it sounds sort of rigid. I don't really like the word structure, but we're stuck with it. I prefer state, that state of soft, relaxed, jointless, effortless, fluid, flowing, one thing. Right? That to me is the right structure. But he's right here, this is what he means. Pay attention to the structure, which will free up the joints, because when you really soft and relaxed. Your joints can just move. Doesn't matter how much pressure puts. It's quite amazing. Somebody can hold me there as hard as they want. If I try to get off them, it's impossible. I've got no leverage. But if I just relax, sorry, bye bye. Your joints are just free to move. And then you use the mind to do the form. Right, and I've talked a lot about this. Doing it just in your mind, doing the form with the mind and letting the arms follow. This is Suzanna Ho. And then they merge together, so you feel, you just get this effortless feeling that you're just thinking the form and it happens, and then also when you're not thinking at all, just focusing on that dot or somebody's spine, whatever you want to do. Focus on a tree. I focus on lots of things. That's another video coming up. I've got this multiple dot idea that I want to show you. Lots of cool practices. He says, try to relax more each time when doing the form, and remember that doing it once correctly is better than doing it many times in the wrong way. And this is super important. There's people out there who teach that you do the form really rigidly and tensed up, like it's going to make you super powerful. And people with that attitude often think our soft idea is idiotic, but I think that rigid idea really is very contrary to the way of true Wing Chun. I don't understand that idea. Having said that, when you really know how to use your mind, you can be rigid and still be effortless. I don't want to talk about that much because it'll throw you a bit, but there is some truth in it. But just be soft, and like Norman says here, get softer each time. Try to relax more each time when doing the form, and just, if you think you're effortless, go, oh, I'll be even more effortless this time. I'll just be even softer and use what I used to call old lady force. Just forget all your powerful, youthful, masculine strength or feminine strength. Just go, just like an old lady reaching for a biscuit. Okay. Before learning the second form, practice pivoting to find the center of gravity. After this learning, Chum Q will be much easier. If you go back to my videos about Chum Q, I've got some exercises for pivoting, so you can really practice your pivoting using different, like a skipping rope and different things. Pay attention to what you've learned in the first form so you can incorporate it into the Chum Q. So it's obviously the things we do in the arms. In Chum Q, you turn with the center. The arms do the same thing as in Suzanna and Norman, but you're using the mass to pivot and move. All the components of body mass movement, focusing, and generation of power are all important in this form. Application of the forms can be applied to Chi Sao. Chi Sao, in brackets sticking hands, is a practical way of training the Wing Chun body for real fighting. Here, contact with the opponent is involved, where you can develop the sensitivity, use of body, as in multi-angular attacks, and an attacking spirit. That is the principle of Wing Chun. The attacking spirit is that connecting, and then when you go, boom, straight in, everything blasting. Kick, 2 punches, arms, everything's coming at them like a fighting ball. So, last line. One can see that the Wing Chun trained body has a distinct advantage in both its treatment of incoming force and in generation of power in real fighting. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Norman. You're remembered, mate. He was a bloody good bloke, and I'd like more people to know about Norman. Alright, that'll do me for this week. Sorry if it's been a bit long, but hopefully those keen ones will listen and you'll get something out of this. See you later.